All right, let's just dive right into this. We are bypassing all the usual pleasantries today because we are going to radically change the way you think about reality itself. In this explainer, we're breaking down a pretty groundbreaking text called Lifetimes, a theory of timescales and life forms. And what we're going to do is strip away that comfortable illusion that time is just some sterile, invisible grid moving forward at a totally predictable pace. Instead, we're going to look at time for what it really is: a gritty, high contrast collision of industrial rhythms, digital evolutions, and messy biological pulses. Here's the roadmap for our explainer today. We're going to cover the illusion of one time, what lifetimes actually are, the rhythms of traffic jams, pandemic isolation and entrainment, deep time, and the Anthropocene. And finally, we'll wrap up with synchronizing with the Earth.
Okay, section 1, the illusion of one time, beyond the ticking clock.
So I really want you to ask yourself something. Is time truly just a universal clock ticking relentlessly on the wall? I mean, we've basically been conditioned since the Industrial Revolution to believe in this standard, absolute time, right? Like it's a rigid flowchart dictating our days. But think about whether the precise time you measure on your smartwatch is genuinely the same as the time you actually experience in your physical body.
This right here brilliantly illustrates that core conflict. On one side, you have Isaac Newton's absolute time from way back in 1687. He saw time as this homogeneous, universal container that flows evenly, totally ignoring anything external. It's clean, it's sterile, it's strictly mathematical. But then, on the flip side, we have the 18th century philosopher Johann Gottfried Herder. Now, Herder argued for plural times. He realized that time is actually inherent in things themselves. You know, the pulse of an elephant shouldn't be the temporal standard for the flow of a river. There are literally innumerable, organic, messy timelines happening all at once.
To really get a feel for this, take a look at this visceral detail from Hieronymus Bosch's Ship of Fools. This was painted over 500 years ago, yet it just perfectly captures our modern polycrisis. Look at the chaotic, completely unsynchronized mess of human existence he's showing here. When multiple systems like massive industrial economies, lightning-fast digital networks, and biological pathogens collide without a shared rhythm, you get this dark, chaotic breakdown. We are literally all navigating a ship of fools when our different temporalities violently clash. Moving on to section 2. What are lifetimes? The entanglement of timescales and life forms. This definition right here anchors our entire explainer. Lifetimes are the entanglement of timescales and life forms. You see, a lifetime isn't just the 80 or so years a human might walk the earth. It's a much broader framework that applies to rocks, to microbes, to towering industrial infrastructures, and even to those flashing neon data streams. Time is actually embodied in these things, and it emerges dynamically from the relationships between them. The philosopher Henri Bergson argued fiercely against the scientific spatialization of time. He didn't view time as a bunch of discrete, countable moments. Instead, he coined this concept of duration. Duration is time actively progressing, continuously bringing about something new. Time isn't some dark obsidian room we're just trapped inside. It is a progression that life actively and constantly creates. So the absolutely crucial point here is this radical shift in perspective. In classical physics, events occur inside time, but in thermodynamics and in the social sciences, time is in action. Time physically exists inside the events. It's an emergence. It's basically the difference between looking at a static grid on a sterile screen and actually feeling the heat and violent vibration of a heavy machine at work. Which brings us to section 3, the rhythms of traffic jams, a diagram of social time.
I want you to think about your morning commute for a second. The cascading failure of synchronized time happens in these 4 visceral, frustrating steps. You slow down to a crawl. You stop completely, you advance a painful 3 yards, and then you stop again. Author Held Jordheim uses this to show how our experience of time literally warps. The time measured by that neat digital clock on your dashboard means absolutely nothing when you are trapped in the rhythmic metal-on-metal gridlock of a multi-lane highway.
Now, you might be wondering, why do traffic jams even matter in a study of time? Well, because a traffic jam is literally a perfect diagram of social time. It's a crazy paradox. It is a moment of absolute, complete synchronization. Everyone is stuck together, moving at the exact same agonizing pace. Yet it is a total disruption of modern society's promised speed and progress. It reveals that social time isn't just a straight line from point A to point B. It's an emergent happening. It's a forced, painful synchronization of thousands of individual lifetimes. Let's shift gears to Section 4, Pandemic Isolation and Entrainment, Temporalities Out of Place.
To really grasp the massive temporal shock of the pandemic, we have to understand a concept called entrainment. Entrainment is basically like a subconscious biological dance. It happens when an organism matches its own internal pulse to an external rhythm. Sure, we entrain to the sun rising and setting, but we also subconsciously sync our personal pulses to the social world around us, to the daily rhythm of the office, the academic calendar, or the constant hum of the city. And the pandemic violently disrupted that dance. As author Einar Wiggen points out, we suddenly lost all our shared physical rhythms. Isolated in our homes, our own individual rhythms took over. But at the exact same time, we were subjected to this forced technological synchronization. We had to immediately sync our lives up to flashing screens, neon data streams, and endless video calls, creating an incredibly jarring, out-of-sync reality. The intense disturbances we felt weren't just anxiety. They were quite literally temporalities out of place.
All right, Section 5. Deep Time and the Anthropocene. When Scales Collide.
Now, what's genuinely fascinating here is the sheer dizzying contrast. This right here is the ultimate clash of timescales. Up at the top, we have the relentless, flashing neon speed of our digital evolution, high-speed algorithms executing trades in fractions of a second. Then you've got the 15-minute life cycles of microbes. Our human 4-year political cycles and 80-year lifespans sit awkwardly right in the middle of all this. And down at the bottom, the deep, dark, agonizingly slow-moving reality of geological rock formations operating over millions of years. We are actively trying to process all of this at once, and it's exhausting.
To even begin processing this terrifying scale, modern media often turns to narrative loops. This image is from the brilliant science fiction game Outer Wilds, where the player is trapped in a 22-minute planetary time loop right before a sun explodes. As author Laura Optibika notes, this specific kind of storytelling tries to help us navigate the Anthropocene. It's an era where we're forced to pause and review the unresolved multiplicity of our history, confronting the incredibly complex, overlapping timelines of our own destruction and survival.
The Anthropocene basically pits two fundamentally opposed scales right against each other. We have human compressed time, what scientists call the Great Acceleration. It's incredibly fast, eventful, and volatile, largely fueled by burning fossil fuels, which, if you think about it, is literally just burning stored time. On the other side is planetary deep time, slow, vast, and entropic. Climate change is at its core a conflict of these two timescales. It is decades of high-speed human industrialization violently crashing into millions of years of delicate ecology. And finally, Section 6, Synchronizing with the Earth, Navigating the Polycrisis. As author Emil Flatow points out, scientists are using global climate models to essentially try and conquer time. They're trying to build this massive imaginary observatory, racing ahead of real time to predict the weather before it even happens. But the climate crisis is, through and through, a temporal conflict. It's our struggle to synchronize our high-speed human data streams with the irreversible physical time of a severely damaged planet. We have to figure out how to reconnect our fast-paced human history with the complex, polyrhythmic flows of nature itself. And that brings us to the core takeaway of our explainer today. Looking again at the source text, lifetimes, we see that to truly understand our world, we absolutely have to abandon the illusion of a single universal clock. We've got to start recognizing the pluriverse of times, the unique, constantly overlapping lifetimes of rocks, algorithms, viruses, and humans that are actively shaping our reality right now. I want to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on. Take a really hard look at the rhythms of your own life, the relentless, flashing pace of our digital and industrial systems. Are we, as a species, simply trying to force our frantic, hyper-compressed human timeline onto a planet that operates on a completely different, ancient scale? Think about that the next time you glance at the clock. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep questioning the timescapes around you.